Morning everyone, thank you for joining us this morning. This morning we're going to decorate some cookies. I know I don't normally do that, but I really wanted to do something different to just making animals. Also, all the jungle animals that I've been making, I put onto a big cake. I don't think I've got a picture of it, have I actually, to show them?
Not yet, no.
I'll get a picture and I'll show you. Just so that I could do something with all these animals that I've been making. But then I thought it'd be nice to make some jungle themed cookies to go with it. And then it's something I can actually eat because my big cake is a display one for the shop window, so it's just polystyrene, so I won't be able to eat the cake itself. I'm going to use fondant today. I don't often get round, do I, to using the fondant. I'm going to use the Vinchos because it comes in some colours. It's going to save me mixing the colours. And I've gone for an assortment of greens and yellows, so I've got pastel green. Maybe I'll use them all, maybe I won't, I don't know. Emerald green, Lincoln green, and a pastel yellow. But like I say, you can mix food colourings in absolutely fine. And for my cookies, I've gone for a different assortment of shapes. So this one's actually my feather cutter. So I am going to actually make some feathers another day because I want to make some pink feathers to go with my flamingos that I did, but I haven't got around to that bit yet. So I thought it's still fairly leaf shaped, so I can use the feather as kind of a bit of a leaf shape. So I'm going to do that as well. And then the others are pretty basic shapes. So I do actually have leaf cutters. I never thought I've got actual leaf cutters for when you're making flower things. I could have probably used those actually, but I was looking more through my cookie ones. So I've got a range of hearts in different sizes, and I just used my 6-piece PME one. So they're all I used for those. I made quite a few cookies with those actually. They're quite handy. But I thought they make really nice leaf shapes. Ovals, again, I've got a set of oval ones, so I just used those. So, guys, when I'm rolling this out, the thickness depends on how much you like the icing. So, I would say probably go fairly thin because if not, there's an awful lot of ice in there. So, I would go fairly thin. But don't go quite as thin as if you were making like petals and flowers because then it's not thick enough for us to put any indentations and things into it. Okay, so I've rolled that like that. Let's cut out our little heart. So giving it a good press. To stick that onto there, I'm going to use some royal icing. I am just cheating and using the ready bought one. You guys all know how lazy I am. So I am going to use tiny little, I have had this in this earlier, just before we went online. Tiny little palette knife, but just, if you're using the pre-made one like I am doing, it actually tastes really vanilla-y, this one. Like, I wouldn't say it tastes the same as normal royal icing. It's got really strong vanilla-y flavour to it. Just give it a good mix first, because when you first get it out the pot, it's quite, not lumpy, but it's really firm. Probably got a bit much here. So I use royal icing to stick the fondant to the biscuits. I have sometimes just used a bit of edible glue on the back of the fondant, but it has a tendency to make my biscuit go a little bit soggy. Then let's see if we can get this onto there.
Watch your head.
Sorry. So this is a thicker cookie, so it doesn't quite go to the very edge, but oh look, there's a bit of royal icing just showing there. You can always nudge it because the fondant is soft, so you can nudge it down at the edges if you want. Okay, just neaten it off here. I guess like if it's a leaf, it could be a bit jagged on the edge, couldn't it? Okay, I think I've actually got an air bubble under there. Let's just see if I can squeeze it out. No, do you know what? It's just going to stay there. I should really try and squeeze it out, but I don't think it's going to come out. Okay, so, oops. I'm going to use the end of my Dresden tool, the pointy end. So I'm just using the PME one. You can use any that's got a thin bit on the end for this. And you're going to draw like the main stem up the middle and maybe curve it a little bit. Oh, I've gone fairly deep. If you don't want to go as deep as that, it's fine, you don't have to. Okay, and let's do a couple of bits coming out to the side here and here. A couple more bits. Can you guys hear the airplanes going over? It's recently there's been loads of airplanes going over actually. We're really close to the airport where we are. Okay, so we've put some bits on there. I'm not going to put too many on at the moment because I want to kind of change. In fact, this one's going to be quite plain. This one has got the holes in. The reason I'm not putting the holes in this one is because I actually put quite a lot of royal icing down. So the royal icing is all the way behind this one. Sorry. So if I remove bits on this, you're going to see the royal icing. So I'll do another one with it. I actually just forgot to make sure that royal icing didn't cover everything. I'll remember now for the next one. So actually I can put more lines on here. Sorry. Okay. The lines are almost like the way I used to draw trees as kids. Like you do a line and then you do two little bits coming off it and then more bits might come off them. Okay. I'm going to draw these lines right to the very edge on this one. This is going to look a little bit different to that one, but it's fine. There's nothing wrong with them looking different. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and do some bits that are kind of deeper from the edges inwards as well. Sorry. I think maybe you've angled it slightly different if it keeps catching. I know, but it's a biscuit I need to see over the top. So I'm kind of, can you see so just kind of press in and nudge in a little bit. So I'm seeing a little bit of biscuit at the edges. Hopefully you guys can see this and see what I'm doing, unless I put my head in the way again. So I'm pressing fairly firm and then kind of wiggle it slightly side to side so that you can see a little bit more. Put some close together, some further apart. It's okay because it looks like a different type of leaf now to that one, which is good because I actually wanted a variety.
Just bring it to you a bit.
Of different leaves.
Bring it to you a bit. So.
So can you see kind of just opening it out in places? It actually looks like a really different kind of leaf, doesn't it? Let's go for the pastel green and then we can change it up a bit. So again, I'm not going to need much for each one. It'll give that 5 minutes to start firming up as well because my fondant's very soft. Okay, so just make sure you've got the same size cutter as you have that you used for the biscuit. I love the heart cutters because you can actually do a lot with heart shapes without them just being hearts.
You used to do a lot of the Christmas videos, didn't you, for like ears and things?
Yeah, yeah, we fold them up to make little ears. But I do use them a lot for leaves. Okay, so we're going to put that on there. So I'm just going to gently rub it onto the royal icing on this one. I don't want to press too hard anywhere else at the moment because we need to change the shape of that now. So what I am going to do is look for my cutters. Here we go. So I'm going to use some kind of teardrop shaped cutters. So these ones, we do sell these in the shop. Actually, do you know what? We have like a few of these that are like basic shapes that are really nice. Like they do ovals, circles, and they're quite small, but I like them because they're metal. Okay, and if you don't have these, you can cut the shapes by hand. It's fine. It's just sometimes when I cut them by hand, the paste stretches around a little bit. So I think I'm going to go for this one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push into here. You need to be pushing firmly enough that it goes through the fondant, but not so hard that you break the biscuit. Okay, so once I've done that, it's almost there shape-wise, but I want to kind of round off this corner here. So I'm just nudging. Got a bit of fondant stuck on the cookie there, but that's fine. So can you see it comes up here and then it's coming up there. It's kind of lifted a bit where I've folded it, but actually I don't mind. It looks kind of quite cute if it's lifted. So I'm putting these in before I'm actually putting in the lines on this one. Let's see. I'm going to go back there. You can squeeze them slightly if you want them to be slightly narrower as well. I'm not going to put loads of them in. Sorry. I think you must have that in a different position today because I'm sure my head's not normally in the way as much as it is today. Let's see, I'm going to go for down here. Can you guys still see this? Okay. So same thing again. This bit's going to go upwards. And this bit here, I'm just kind of curling it under a little bit. Is this making sense to everyone? Okay, so even though it's not stuck at those edges, it won't matter. When it firms up, it'll just stay in place there. So it's fine. Okay, now I'm just going to put my little line going up the middle. You can curve it or you can keep it straight. It's entirely up to you. So can you see if I curve it, I can kind of give that a slight point at the end of the leaf there as well. And the other thing I'm going to do is going to cut out some little holes in it. Looks like my mum's cheese plant that she used to have.
Right, we're just switching camera angles for a second.
Okay, so these are the oval plunger cutters that I've just got. I think the small and the medium one should be plenty big enough. I'll get Emily to put links up as well for you guys for all these things I'm going to use. So where shall I put one? I'll put a small one. I'm going to put a small one here. I'm actually just going to make it match that one. So press firm enough that you know it's gone through. It should stick in your plunger, okay? Should, as long as you've not stuck the fondant to the biscuit everywhere. Okay, should we go down there or should we go there again? I'm going to go here again. Oh, didn't stick in my plunger cutter that time. So let's pull it out. You can see, actually it's because there was a tiny bit of royal ice in there. I'm able to scrape that off as well. It did actually come off, so that's good. Okay, yeah, I'm fairly happy with that. Now, if you don't want to do more details, guys, you can just leave it like that. But if you've got plenty of time to spend on making your biscuits fancy, then do a little bit more. So I can add some little lines in. Coming along here. I don't know if they would go through the circle or not. I should have really studied and looked into what happens with the leaves a little bit more, shouldn't I? So let's put some little lines coming off again, a bit like we did on the other one. I'm not going to put too many on there. You could use a yellow, so if you've got a darker colour leaf, we could use a bit of yellow on it. Or if I've got a lighter one, I could actually just use a bit of blue. Oh yeah, I left the lid off this one. I've got loads of different blues. To be honest, any of the darker blues would probably look quite nice. Teal. Teal might actually work as well. Have a play around. Bake extra biscuits because you can always just eat them yourself. Let's put some of that one in there. I forgot to shake them up. You should really give them a shake before you use them. These are just the Sweet Sticks ones. For painting on the biscuits, I am going to dilute them a little bit. I know they look quite runny, but they set quicker as well. Like they'll dry much quicker for me if I add a tiny bit of the rejuvenator or dip in solution to them. Let's try those colours. Okay, so I'm going to put that in a separate palette. And depending on what size brush you use, it's going to change what it looks like again. So what I'm going to do is just mix a little bit of dip in solution in with my paint. Can you see that? Is my head in the way again? I'm going to actually add the yellow one to this one. And then what I'm going to do is just paint inwards a little bit. This one I want to look sort of more stripy, I think, than the other one. So the yellow won't be too strong because the yellow, it's not an overly strong colour on something that's darker than it. So it'll be fairly subtle on this one. So we're going to paint in little stripes. But yeah, I would advise watering it down a little bit with your rejuvenator or dipping solution rather than using it just straight. It sits on the surface better as well if it's diluted a little bit. Okay, does it show up on camera, the yellow? Or does it not, Richard?
Yeah, it's lining the edges, yeah. You can see some, yeah, you can see what yellow on it.
Okay, so just putting my little stripes of yellow on there. I'm going to put some more in near the middle. Oh, my tummy's making funny rumbling noises.
Just to recap, the type of paint you're using at the moment?
So these are the, well, you can't really see, can you, because the thing leaked. These are the Sweet Sticks paints. They are pretty watery, just give them a shake before you use them, but I would still probably advise watering them down a tiny bit more. It doesn't have to be much, just a little bit. Okay, then let's go for a different colour. Shall I try teal? Okay. And I'm going to try and keep the teal on the edges. Have I got my head in the way again?
No.
So let's catch the edges first, and then I'll try and bring it inwards every now and again. So I guess maybe where I've got like a little line or a gap, I'm going to bring it down in here. How many of you guys make biscuits? Do you all make cookies? I realise some people just make cookies and only cookies, and then some people only do fondant cakes, some people do only buttercream. I used to like to try and do a variety of different things when I was doing them for customers. I didn't do as many buttercream though as other things. I would like to have, but I'm quite out of practice because I never really got to do much with buttercream. Wafer paper as well, I didn't ever really get to do much with that, did I? Something again that's on my to-do list of things to practice and develop at.
They're like finishing the book.
Yeah, that's on my to-do list too. The teal actually looks quite nice, doesn't it?
It does.
So just go on the edges. Don't worry, if it doesn't go as planned. I think as long as you kind of just brush in inwards and it's slightly different colours on the edges to in the middle, then it'll still look nice. Okay.
A few people are commenting to do royal icing cookies.
Yeah, do you know what? I was tempted to do royal icing, and I was like, oh, this is a bit less messy for me. I actually was going to do some stenciling with royal icing as well. And then I thought about the mess that I was going to make.
Royal icing, again, it's one of those things that you've never really done much with it, have you?
No, mainly for stenciling. I did, at the very beginning when I started, I'm just going to go for the darker blue now, just on the very edges, to just try and darken it up a tiny bit. Can you guys see that? Just try not to get it dripping on your actual cookie itself. Keep it on the fondant part. Yeah, it was mainly for stenciling on wedding cakes that I used to really use it. I maybe should have diluted this one down a little bit more, but it's fine.
Just see if we've got any questions.
Yeah. So I'll let that one dry. So let's go to this other one. I think I went for a slightly thicker brush actually on that one. So on this one I just used the blue. Let's just dilute it a little bit more. So I want it fairly diluted at first, so that when I put my first layer on, can you see it's not too dark? So I don't take it quite all the way to the very middle, but nearly there, just so that it's slightly lighter down that middle bit than it is on the rest of it. And you can actually get these in green anyway, these paints. I'm going to go for a bit of teal now. And we're keeping it slightly closer to the edge. Just catching the edge there as well. So I don't know if you guys can really see. I'm just trying to paint. Oh, I have not got a steady hand when I'm holding it upwards. Just trying to catch that bit there. Sorry, it's probably not very interesting, is it, watching me just paint? So swiping inwards. I won't do too many more painting. I'll maybe do some different style leaves for you guys to see. Okay. It's not as dark as that one, but the difference is the colour underneath. So I had a slightly darker fondant. Let's go a bit more blue on the very edge. In fact, let's see what happens if we mix the blue and yellow together. That gives us like a really nice dark green. Like I say, if you don't want to mix your colours together, you don't have to. You can buy these in loads of different colours. But I've got a lot of blue and yellow already open, so I might as well mix them together. So don't forget, if you want some but you don't want to buy many, go with your primary colours, which are red, yellow and blue. Sorry, can you guys hear that plane? Is it a plane or a helicopter? It's a plane, isn't it?
That's
Yep.
fine.
Sounds really low. Because you can make lots of different colours with your primary colours. Okay, so if you're only going to get 3 colours, go primary. A little bit darker there than I wanted. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that, I think. As I still keep going. Yeah. So the middle bits, where I would want it a little bit lighter, I would do afterwards with a pen. So I know it's already on this one, but I need it to dry, and then what I would do is run my pen along those lines that I've done. I can run it over as many times as you like, and it will just go. Can you see? Let me just draw them further out, and then you can see it a bit more. So can you see how it draws over? You guys see that? Yeah. But when it's wet, the pen will just absorb all the colour from your cookie into the white, so wait for it to dry before you before you do that. And once they're done, you can put them in a little airtight container. Don't put them in an airtight container when they're wet like that, because everything will just go really kind of soggy. So, okay. Let's go with something different. So let's do a round one. And I'm going to try and use these to create a different type of leaf. Let's see, it might not be quite big enough. So probably won't give me a full leaf. That is the biggest one, isn't it? But we'll see how we get on. Now, because there's loads of planes going over. My goodness, like loads. I forgot what I was on about. Oh, because these are thin. When I use them to cut out fondant, the fondant might actually squash a little bit. So I'm gonna go for a dark one actually. I'm gonna go for the emerald green. Okay. Can you see it's very soft? I might even add just a tiny bit of Tylose to it just to firm it up a little bit. Just because it's gonna make it a bit easier when I'm using those cutters. So use some CMC or Tylose. You're not going to need much. Like, that's probably actually more than I should have put in there. It won't set rock hard, so nobody's going to break the teeth on it, so don't worry too much. But okay, so we want to go fairly thin. I could probably get away with a bit thinner actually. And let's go for the biggest one first. Let's see how big it's going to sit on my cookie. It's actually not going to be very big on my cookie at all. I wonder if I don't think I've got a smaller round biscuit actually. No, okay. It's going to be exposing a lot of the biscuit then, this one, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to wet this one because it's so small that it's going to be difficult for me to get royal icing on. If I'd put a piping nozzle on a piping bag, I could have piped a tiny bit of royal icing on there, and I didn't think to do that. Okay. So let's cut a couple more like this. And I think I might try going a little bit smaller now as we come further around. So let's go for our next size down, which is this one. I have to remember then which ones to put on next. Okay. Let's stick these on and see what they look like, and then I know whether to keep going smaller or not. Yeah, I really wish if I'd just got piping bag, the little nozzle, I could just now pipe little dots of royal icing to stick these on. Richard's just faffing his hands around at me. I think he means move out of the way, but I don't know. Okay, so let's put it on next to that, and we'll bring the points together here. It's because it's so high up, that's why you put the camera so high that I end up putting my head underneath it. So a tiny bit of water on. Oops. Yeah, this one's a faffy one. I don't think I'm going to like this one as much, but we'll see. We'll see what it ends up like. This one's probably ideal for people that don't like as much icing because there's not going to be as much on there. I haven't actually made lollies. I wanted to make like, you know, the ones that I don't think it's isomalt. Is it something different to isomalt? But it looks like isomalt where they're clear and then you put like flowers and things in the middle or sprinkles in the middle. I wanted to have a go with things like that. I've never really got round to it. It's looking a little bit wonky. I don't know how well you guys can hear the aeroplanes or not when you're watching. I used to do the YouTube videos at home, didn't we, Richard? And I used to talk while I was doing the video, but the planes used to come over that often that everybody used to comment on the constant plane noise in the background. So that's why in the end with YouTube videos I ended up stopping talking while I was doing it, and then I'd just film it, cut out the noise, and then I'd talk over it afterwards, wouldn't I? Bit of water. Like I say, if you've got royal icing in a bag, use your royal icing in your piping bag to just pipe a little dot on there. Just remember what I said about water, it'll just make your cookie go a little bit soggy. Let's just get rid of that little bit there. Actually, if it had a little stalk there, it would look more like a leaf, do you think? Oops, that's my little stalk. Royal icing would probably be easier for this. And you could always put lines in them as well. My big jungle themed cake, I put little leaves on the cake like this, but they look different on the cake to what they do on the cookie. Do you think?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to just go down the middle of each one.
Do you know your voice is so relaxing? A lot of people say that.
I know a lot of people say that. A lot of people watch my videos before they go to bed. So I'm just trying to put a bit of yellow in those lines that I put on, just to stop it looking so flat in colour. And then we'll add a bit of darker to the outside edges again. Yeah, I don't like it as much as the others. I think the others are nice because they're the same size and shape as the leaf, aren't they? I know, I'm going to do another round one, but I'm going to try it a bit different. I'm going to make it almost like a lily pad, I think, for the next one. So let's just go a bit darker on the top edge. Is it showing up this darker? Because this is a much darker fondant, so it's harder to see the colour on the ends. My head in the way again. So just around that edge. Yeah, I could do with it just being that tiny bit darker, can I, in colour? Maybe I should have used the blue on its own actually for this one. Would have probably looked quite nice. Yeah, I'm not as keen on that as I am the other ones. Let's move these to one side. So what I'm going to do on this one, do lily pads have holes in like that, or do they not really? I don't know.
You're asking the wrong person.
I am, aren't you?
I'm sure we're
I'm going to put a very tiny bit on just to hold it in place on this one. Just tiny bit. Okay. Then I'm going to cut a little bit out the bottom. Are the lily pads jungle themed things? Or maybe I've cut too much out. I'm going to keep it fairly sharp and pointy. And then I am going to do my lines from this bit out. Kind of stretches, can you see where I'm drawing the lines? And then I'm going to do some lines going inwards, a bit like I did on that other leaf. So I just wanted to really show you that it doesn't matter if you don't actually have leaf shapes, because you can make do with different things to create leaves. Maybe I should have used a little hole to cut out a hole. Where did I put my plunger cutters? Let's go for the smallest one. Like I say, I don't know if they have holes in or not, but this one does. This one's been eaten by a bug. Oh wait, let's put 2 holes in it. A bigger and a smaller one. Oh, can you hear the rain? Yeah. I don't know how much like of background noise people can hear. Sorry, so I did a big and a small one. And you know what? We could actually even add bits that stick out, like some little lumpy bits. So let's over here, tiny bit of water, and we'll go smaller.
The colour of your hands.
I know. Just shows how much colouring must be in the fondant. I don't want another one. Let's stick one up here.
Deirdre says that the no holes and ruffled edges.
Oh, mine doesn't have ruffled edges and it has holes. Oh dear. Never mind, eh? In fact, that one's got the dipping solution and now it's only got a tiny bit of blue in, but that's fine. Actually, I don't know if they'd be darker in the middle or the outside edge, these ones. I should have tried one the other way around, shouldn't I? Where it was lighter on the outside and darker in the middle. It's probably not too late to I can actually just do it this way around.
Good comment. If you wanted to add like water droplets onto the leaves,
yes.
Deirdre's mentioned, could you use piping gel?
Yeah, you could actually. I mean, piping gel is sticky for a little while, so sometimes it takes a while to set if it's on thick. I've seen people make really pretty ones in isomalt, so like they've melted isomalt and they've literally just let tiny bits drip on a work surface that's, or like, you know, the non-stick mats for isomalt. And then once they've set, they've just pulled them off and it's like a little kind of glass bead. Well, it's not a glass bead, but it looks like a little glass bead. And they look really nice. The only thing is, ice malt I think can sometimes go sticky when it's out in the air, so you have to kind of cover it in a glaze as well to stop it from going tacky, I think. And I've still got a bit of blue in the brush, so it's gone a bit green. Even if it's not a real leaf, it's fine. It's giving me a bit of variety in my leaves. So that one's the opposite to the others, where we've gone darker in the middle and cornflower down. Just make sure you've not got, like I'm putting quite a bit of cornflower down because it's quite tacky today, but just make sure when you put it on that you dust all the excess cornflower off your paste. Okay, I don't want to roll it like ridiculously thin that I can't push my letter set into it. So it's still fairly thin, but not quite as thin as the last one. Let's go bigger. Let's go for the bigger one. Okay, so I'm going to push it out on here so I've got the shape. I'm not going to stick it on there yet because what I actually want to do is I want to put some lettering on it, a bit like this one. And if I push hard into my biscuit, it might break my biscuit, or cookie. The last one I used the vanilla one. I want like the small ones. I was torn between the cookie one or the vanilla one because they're both quite small. Maybe I should do it so it matches the other ones that I've done. Oh, I don't know, I really like that one.
Yeah, if you try the vanilla ones.
Okay, we'll use the vanilla ones. That's what I used last time, the vanilla ones. Okay, so I also got, like, you can press them straight in. Have you seen these guys? I think most of you guys probably have these already. They come in boxes now. When we first got them, they didn't come in boxes, did they? Oh yeah, you can remove the paper bit as well. I liked it, so I kept it on. Okay, so what should we write? I'm gonna write "Welcome to the Jungle." So I'm just gonna use like something pointy to pick the letters out that I want. So.
Or could you use a bit of paste to come out with?
Probably. I'm going to use my craft knife actually, but I don't know where I put my craft knife. There we go. There it is. That's the only thing is getting them out is the hardest bit. And then you've got to make sure that you're putting them on right. So you can either press them straight in, which I think is nice for setting them up, like if you can push them straight in. I'm going to make more sense in a second when I show you. You'll also see that I misspell things and I won't notice that I'll have like the letter O missing or something when I'm writing. Okay, so we'll put a little bit of royal icing on. In fact, I'm going to rely on you guys to give me tips on how to use them. Okay, so gently so we don't squash it. And then before I press them on, I'll try and lay them out first. Is that the right way for the letter L? I think it is. Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Personal preference, it'll be fine.
So don't press them down till you've got them lined up.
Should we check your spelling?
Yeah, someone must have to check my spelling because it's awful. Usually I can blame it on my phone just changing things to random words, but I can't on this today. Okay. Do you know what? Maybe I could just press that straight down on it now to push them all in to the same kind of depth. I've pushed them quite far in actually. Do you know what? I'll just leave it like that. That looks nice. Everybody wants a bit of plastic in the biscuit, don't they? Okay, so this is where you just have to be a bit more careful because when you get them out, if you kind of push them too much, you'll catch the edge.
So everybody,
I'm going to go wash my thingy pad after this as well, and then hopefully...
Everybody, this is a great how not to do something video.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn how to do something, watch this and don't do it the same way. You'll be fine.
No, honestly, it worked absolutely fine yesterday. Like when I did those other two, I had no problems. I do just think it's where... Because my fondant was so sticky, I put loads of corn flour down, which I put on my work surface to stop things sticking. So I think if it's got on the pad, I've basically just dusted it to stop things sticking to it. Okay, there we go. I should put my letters back really straight away. I'm not gonna, but put them back straight away, otherwise you'll lose them. It's kind of stretched out, the fondant hasn't it a bit, but that's fine. Do you know what I could even do? I could point it a little bit, couldn't I? Can you see? So instead of it being quite so oval, I can just try and, only a tiny bit, can you see, just nudge the edge. Looks like a green lemon, pale green lemon. So let's carefully put some little lines down. I don't want to put them too deep, and I don't want to put them too close to the welcome bit, because I want to try and fill them. Watch it not work. Yesterday it worked absolutely no problem. I want to fill it with the paint, and you get little drip bottles that kind of drop into the gaps that you've made. If I put these lines so that they connect into this, what will happen is when I drop that into the letter, it will flow down my line as well, which I don't want. So that's why I'm going to try and avoid that if I can. So I'm doing some a little bit deeper than others. I can see if I press quite hard, it gives it a bit of a more uneven edge, which is fine. I quite like that. What do you think to the uneven edge, or did you prefer it straighter?
It looks like a leaf.
Only because it's green, but that's fine. That's fine. Oh wait, no, we're going to paint the outside bit first, because I think if not, I'm going to catch that. So I'm going to go for my bigger brush. Let's put a bit more rejuvenator in with this. Where did I put my rejuvenator? Okay, which colour shall we go for? I like this one's actually squeezy, because some, like the others are nice as well that I use, but I sometimes pour too much everywhere. I might even use just that as it is, just really diluted at first. No, not quite strong enough. Let's go with a bit of, yeah, I'm just going to put mixer colours on. Yeah, so I wanted something smaller. Let's go on with this is the teal one. It was teal, wasn't it, I think?
Teal's actually a popular colour.
It is, it's a really popular colour. We sell loads of the colour mills in teal actually, don't we?
Yeah.
And you don't have to be good at painting for these either, which is good. It's the nice thing about this kind of design. Does it need, maybe I should have put some brown on there somewhere. Actually, I haven't picked up a brown thing.
I've got dust there.
Yeah, I'm gonna, well, just to show you that you can use both. If you dilute it down, the colour's not as strong, you see. It'll give you a much more liquidy colour. Oops. Yeah, I like it with a bit of brown on the edge. What do you think, Richard? Do you guys prefer it with brown, or did you prefer it without?
Can't say without now because you've done it.
Well, yeah, but you still prefer it without. I just can't take it off.
I think once you've got the gold in the middle as well, it'll obviously brighten it up.
Yeah. So let's have a bit of a go. Just make sure it's not too wet everywhere. And again, I just used the sweet sticks. I used the pure gold one. Now, when I put it in here, they come with, let me see if I can find, so they come with your empty little bottle. And it comes with like the little, what are they called? Funnel. A funnel, so that you can put it in easily. I decided I was going to dilute it a little bit, because I wanted it to go further. I didn't want to use like my full pot in there, but it's got a lid, so actually if you don't use it all, you can keep it in that container with the lid on. I'm just going to drop in each one and let it kind of spread a little bit. So don't try and force it in the corners, just get a little bit in there first. And can you see it's kind of spreading itself a bit? And if you think you've put a lot in, it will evaporate. If you've mixed it with like dipping solution or rejuvenator, it should evaporate, so you won't be left with this big amount of liquid. I think the middle of my L maybe isn't quite deep enough. Oh, could you hear my tummy then? And what you'll find is once it has dried a little bit, I like it like that. It won't look quite as strong, but you can always just put more in once it's evaporated. Yeah, I need welcome to jungle. That's about how I would say it rather than welcome to the jungle. Welcome to jungle. Do you know what? They might even look nice with a tiny bit of gold painted on the leaves themselves, mightn't they? Hang on, let me just see if I can squeeze some of my paint palette. Just to see if I can perk them up. Put the lid on, otherwise it'll evaporate. I'm going to go with a small brush actually. Just thinking of this one, you know, because it's quite a nice dark colour. Maybe if I just have the odd little... Can you see it?
Yeah.
Because it's not like a strong gold, is it, this? Yeah, I like it with a tiny bit of gold on the edge. Some longer, some shorter bits. Yeah, I like that with gold on. Okay, so, okay, this one's probably not quite dry enough. I'm gonna just try go over the bits that are dry. Can you guys see? Actually, was I putting my head in the way? It will pick up my green because it's not fully dry. Oh, I didn't put glaze on as well. This is a lighter colour one, so the white's not going to show up as much as it did. Can you see on that one? So if you want the white to be more obvious, go for a darker green underneath, okay? But that's what you're going to do to create that. Okay. This one, I'm going to be able to put glaze on because it's dry. Maybe even this one as well. I might just do it on this one. This one, I would need that to really dry out before I started putting any glaze on. This one I don't like. Yeah, I don't like that one. I'll save that for Danielle to eat. Glaze. If you're going to use glaze, guys, like you can use all different ones. Like I sometimes use Squires or this one. I've got a little bit of this one left, so I'm going to use this one before opening the other one. You're also going to just make sure that if you're using it that you've got some glaze cleaner because it absolutely ruins your brushes and it's difficult to get off your work surface. Somebody once spilled some on the floor, didn't they, in a class, and it was it's difficult to get off, but it's all right if you've got like a glaze cleaner. So it is edible. I wouldn't put like bucket loads on. I'd keep it fairly thinly applied. Just make sure that your brush is dry. In fact, I'm just going to look and see if I've got a brush that is dry because sometimes the water mixes funny with it. Yeah, I'll use this big flat one. I don't really need a brush as big as this, but it's fine. Sometimes if I want more sparkle as well, I put a tiny bit of pearlescent luster dust in. Although I say that, you can actually buy it ready done, can't you, like that?
Pearlescent glazes, yeah.
Yeah, the pearlescent glazes. So literally just brushing it on. So it just gives it that little bit of a shine, because I think some of the leaves are quite shiny, aren't they? Oops, I was going to show you the difference actually, but that one will be shiny because it's wet. Yeah, I think it looks nice with the shine. So I do need to now, in fact, let's just do this one while I've still got the glaze on my brush. Then I need to give it a clean. I'm not worried about the glaze going into the lettering. I just want to catch sort of the edges or the leaf itself. Does it look better with the glaze on? I don't know, guys. What do you prefer, with or without the glaze? Oops, just be careful because if you catch the gold, actually it will smudge it a little bit. So try and keep it around the lettering, but don't rub your brush in the lettering itself. Yeah, no, I prefer it. If it's dried, oops, and you don't think you've got enough on, you can always go over it and give it another coat. It dries pretty quick, doesn't it, this? Oops. It's a good job there's not much left in my pot. I'm so accident prone. Yeah. And be careful you don't get glaze all over the lid, because what happens is it sets when you put the lid on and then you can't get the lid back off, or it's very difficult to get the lid back off, so just watch out for that if you are using glaze. Okay, and I will give that a clean in a minute with my glaze cleaner.
Could you use glaze spray instead of glaze?
Yep, you could do, yeah. I mean, this one's handy because it hasn't got my biscuit, so I don't want the biscuit itself to shine, just the leaf. But, like, this one wouldn't matter because you can't even see the biscuit. You can use glaze spray. The only reason I prefer that is because I've got more control over where it goes. Richard will be able to tell you the state of our kitchen last time I used glaze cleaner.
Last time you used any glaze, yeah. It's...
Not glaze cleaner, yeah, glaze in a spray. I basically sprayed just everywhere, and it took about 6 months before I managed to get it off the work surface. But I didn't have glaze cleaner at the time, which I do have now, which makes life so much easier. It just looked like I dropped a lot of varnish on the worktop. But yeah, at the time I hadn't really heard of glaze cleaner. If I'm spraying, it does kind of go everywhere, so I take things outside and spray with the spray glaze. Anything in a spray now I tend to do outside rather than inside because it's quite messy. But if you've got that one, then yeah, you can use it. That would work absolutely fine. Yeah, they look a bit kind of bland on their own, don't they? But when they kind of put with my other jungle themed stuff, I think that's going to look quite nice. Yeah. Okay. Thank you to anybody that sent us stars again today. I apologize, I can't actually see what you guys have sent or messaged, so I am sorry. Hopefully most of your questions have been answered, and I don't think you guys can see me either at the moment, can you? But
You're on like the top camera.
Oh, is it? You'll be able to see it on my nose. Thank you for watching, guys.